Ben 10 is a show we all know and love. Across its history, Ben 10 has been plagued by several things. One of the most controversial and well-discussed issues with it is its repeated retcons of Kevin's backstory. But that's not all. Ben 10 has shifted several things throughout the 4 series: alien redesigns, a shift in art styles, and the infamous reset button on Ben's character, where he needs to relearn the same lesson throughout each series multiple times. Or even a character reset or a shift in character between each series and the other. All of these have frustrated fans for years and have been a topic of discussion on online reviews, forums, and anything Ben 10 related. But what if I told you that might not necessarily be lazy writing or character retcons or reset button? This might be intentional. This might be part of the lore itself, part of how the world of Ben 10 is constructed. I have discovered a theory that, if proved correct and taken seriously, could shift this whole thing and how we view Ben 10 forever. This theory had its seeds planted throughout the original series and across Alien Force, Ultimate Alien, and those seeds finally sprouted in Omniverse. It doesn't just explain the inconsistencies, but it turns them into something truly terrifying. It justifies everything, from the alien redesigns, to the art style changes, to Ben's inconsistency, to even the non-canon timelines, like episodes like Gwen 10 or Good Riddance. When I first came up with this theory, it took me 6 hours to recover from the sheer horrific weight of it. And now, I'm sharing it with all of you. This is Engineer of Worlds, and this is our first Ben 10 theory. We start off our set of evidence with the canon episode Gwen 10. Ben suddenly wakes up in a different timeline right before his summer vacation started. As he wakes up in the RV, he finds that he doesn't have the watch anymore. He was panicking, trying to figure out where had it gone, since it was stuck on his wrist the whole summer. And he figures out that he somehow went back in time to the day where he was supposed to get it.
Ben, I got you from Madison Elementary today, just 2 hours ago.
However, in a twist of fate, Gwen finds it first. And as we can see, the Omnitrix binds itself to Gwen before Ben could get to it. And while Gwen objectively had a better learning curve and used it better, that's not what we're here for. We are here to examine the changes in timelines, because in this timeline, Vilgax never got injured, which made him descend on Earth much sooner.
It's Vilgax,
which again,
and he's not
he
supposed
kidnapped
to be
Gwen,
here.
mirroring the exact time he kidnapped Ben in season 1 finale, the episode named Secrets. However, in this timeline, a shift happens. Right as the team was in the fight and trying to escape, a lightning bolt hits Gwen, causing the Omnitrix to snap out of her wrist. And when Ben tries to get it, it lands on Max's wrist, meaning that Max now is the official wielder of the Omnitrix, at least for now. Ben helps Max learn Upgrade, and they all escape Vilgax's ship. What I want you to look at here is not just the shift in timeline, it's what's actually happening. Vilgax never got injured, meaning that he descended on Earth much sooner. There was no entire season for Gwen to learn to master her powers, or for the Omnitrix to keep being stuck to her wrist. Vilgax descended like 2 or 3 days after his fight with Xylene. That made it so the Omnitrix was never stuck on Gwen's wrist for long, and it shifted to Max's. Now, this might be my own headcanon or non-canon completely, but why not assume that this is a pattern that kept repeating? Like, the watch itself won't get stuck on Max for long, because maybe Kevin, maybe Vilgax again will try to snatch it like they did with Ben in that one episode where he unlocked Master Control. That means something. That opens up a terrifying possibility that the Omnitrix is trying to get back to Ben. And the reason for that will be discussed further along in this video. The next 2 pieces of evidence I want to discuss are by nature things that I cannot be too detailed about, or this video will end up being at least 30 minutes long. For now, I'll just present our first piece of evidence. I'm talking about the many character resets that happened to Ben throughout the original series. Like, every viewer knows this. Ben had to relearn the same lessons about teamwork and appreciating his family at least several times over. This just gives us a singular clue of the many clues that are about to come. The second piece of evidence I'm going to mention is the infamous series ending, or the lack thereof. Like, we all know that the official ending is the movie, but there were multiple ones, from the -10 to the non-canon timeline where Vilgax attacked Bellwood and everyone knew Ben's secret. And there was, I hear, another movie ending that makes about 4 endings in total to the original series. And the reason for having 4 endings is, again, part of the theory that I'm discussing with all of you. After going through the original series, we'll now jump to Alien Force. Ben has grown up, 5 years have passed, and we get a much more mature Ben than the one we got in the original series.
Sort of showing off.
And while that has been a very fun ride to me, I'm not here to talk about it. I'm here to talk about a specific alien design, Ripjaws. Look at the image in front of you right now. This Ripjaws looks nothing like the one from the original series. And after a while in Ultimate Alien, they just bring him back to normal. This, as an out-of-world reason, is just a design change or an art style change. But within my theory, this is something much, much more ominous. Now we jump to season 3 of Alien Force. After saving the whole universe from the hybrid invasion, Ben's character gets reset for I don't know how many times this happened. But again, he gets cocky, he starts to act childish, obnoxious, and completely insufferable.
You're completely full of yourself.
Which is forgivable because I'm so adorable.
And the out-of-universe explanation for this reset this time is that the executives found that the views increased in the episode where Ben was featured as a kid, or where an alternate version of Ben as a kid appeared. So again, they had to reset to childish and arrogant to increase those views. However, this is not the whole truth, because according to my theory, this was not something out of universe. This was something caused by Ben himself, and we're gonna find how in the next section. Now here is the section you've all been watching this video for. Now is when we get to the good part. And if by good part you interpret it as terrifying, unsettling, and completely horrifying, then yes, that is the good part. We start at the Omniverse episode So Long and Thanks for All the Smoothies. In this episode, a weapon is introduced under the name of Annihilard, something that most characters can't even pronounce right, but jokes aside, this weapon is supposed to be a universe-creating device, except that if it detonates in an already existing universe, it wipes it out. At the end of the episode, 2 things happen. Ben was too late to save the entire universe due to Selena and Bellicus bickering constantly, like usual, so he had to create one from scratch.
I was too late to save the universe, so I used Alien X to make a whole new one.
Yeah, not buying it.
And the second thing is a joke the writers put there at the end of the episode about how the grape smoothie doesn't taste right.
Doesn't taste the same.
This was not a mere joke. This was the final seed of the entire theory that proves that Ben can't remember everything, that Ben failed to even get a tiny recipe for a smoothie right. And this begs the terrifying question, what else did he get wrong? If you think about it, you find yourself now staring a textbook case of Capgras delusion right in the face. Ben, as many Reddit users and many people actually noticed on the forums, is not living with his family. They're all dead. He's living with clones of his own creation. And again, if he didn't get a mere recipe right, then what else did he mess up about his family, about their histories, about the universe in general. That's the terrifying question. And what makes it even worse is that if you strip out the cartoon filter and the reset button and the status quo, you find yourself in front of a truly, truly terrifying finale. In the finale of Omniverse, after a fight with a rogue chronosapien named Maltruant, Ben manages to seal him in a loop,
See,
if you will.
Maltruant is stuck in a time loop.
And he is doomed to failure over and over. Every time he pulls himself together, he returns to the beginning of time and is defeated by Ben. I gather up the pieces of Maltruant and scatter them across the universe, and the loop begins again.
However, this ending is not merely comedic, this is pure terror, because if this whole thing was a loop, then that means the Annihilarg, the dimension, was also part of the loop. And this is where the theory hits its absolute maximum damage, because again, it took me 6 hours just to recover from the self-inflicted trauma from this. Imagine this. This universe is continuously going through a loop, and each loop contains an Annihilarg detonation. But if Ben gets something wrong every time, then how many things did he get wrong? This means that this universe is not just in a loop, it's in a decaying loop, because each time this happens, more details get lost. This is why the art style changes, not because of mere out of reasons universe, because we were not watching a single timeline. It looked like we were, but the truth is we were watching different loops. Again, that's why Ben's character keeps resetting, because we were not watching a single timeline. We were actually watching multiple loops, and we didn't even know
Folks,
it.
I'll be hitting
That's
the
why
bad
he learns
guys.
the lesson
I bet
and
the
soon
local
forgets
cops
it,
could
not
use
because
four
he
hands
forgot
or
it,
a tail
because
or
that
some
version
wings
of
on
Ben
the
in that
chest.
loop learned it a little later than his predecessor, because the details aren't the same. And this again explains the alternate universe of Gwen 10, because my headcanon for this is that the Omnitrix did not remain on Max for long. Once again, something happened that made it detach and land on Ben's wrist, for the loop to reset itself once more. And this also explains the multiple endings of the original series, because that was not a single ending, and we were not watching a single timeline. Details have changed, events have changed, things have changed. That's why there were 4 endings, not just one. And this also explains the art style change between original series and Alien Force, not because the art style decided to change or the studio changed, it's because Ben himself or the universe itself has reached a critical level where he can't remember the details right anymore. The decay and the slow erasure of details have finally reached a certain threshold where everything had to change. And this also explains the retcons of Kevin, because each time it was something different. First it was just an angry street kid, then we find out that his anger and issues were caused by Osmosian energy absorption. And then in the Rooters arc, we found a brain and a red eyes telling us that it was all a lie and Kevin is just an experimental. But this does not explain the rogue alien Kevin had to hunt, because he had to prevent him from harvesting the sun or something. This not just explains every retcon, every plot hole, it makes it a part of a whole. Ben is playing God and failing, and the results of this failure is a loop that trapped him and the entire universe in it. Ben is trapped in a decaying universe while he tries to hold it together and fails. And if soon enough, there will be nothing left. Nothing but a mere shell of a universe that once existed. Nothing but a black and white copy of a full panel of a comic. You get the analogy? This is just a slow decay. And this is the theory I came up with. It took me 6 hours to recover from this, because this not only means the amount of lives lost over and over and over, it also shifts another terrifying possibility that Alien X and the Forge of Creation are either apathetic gods watching this happen and letting it happen, or worse, they are trapped in the same loop. If you watch closely, you could see something like the different design of Big Chill from Ultimate Alien to Omniverse. That's because Ben did not get it right. The difference in change in Wild Vine. That's because Ben didn't get it right either. The universe is decaying, and Ben is the one responsible for it, and he doesn't even realize it. This was Engineer of Worlds, and this was our first Ben 10 theory. And I hope you all can watch Ben 10 the same way again after this.